a video about it. Just as a series alone, without counting week to week, would your answer still be One Piece?
No, it'd be.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I don't know.
The thing is, yeah.
When you take arcs that have been impressionable, like
Hunter x Hunter
new
is
arc
like,
on the camera arc is just crazy.
the fact that what happened to Hunter x Hunter is so trash because the fucking story is not finished whatsoever. It's like a fucking One Piece just like ended after like fucking Thriller Bark or something. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's a lot more. It's a lot more to come, but I think for Hunter x Hunter, it's just the characters. It's just so many great characters in the story, you know. And then the thing is, it's like you can point out. It's like there's flaws in the series, right? But the thing is, they're not blatant where you're like, oh, that's trash. I know people don't like the Gon power up, but it's like that's a shonen thing.
Yeah, speaking about flaws, do you know what channel name Cinema Sins?
No, what's that?
Yeah, Simpsons. It's kind of trash.
They attempted to break down on the flaws in Hunter x Hunter, and the comment section went off. Most of the flaws that they
because it's probably nitpicking.
What
exactly,
they do? Like,
Watch
Mojo?
Watch Mojo is trash. Watch Mojo is
like the worst.
That's trash.
Watch Mojo is so trash.
They probably do the exact same thing.
Like I hate because they're just so like they're so surface level. You can tell they don't read or watch any of this stuff. They just get enough information.
They like read an article.
Yeah, it's just so bad. Like some of the rankings. So it's like for Hunter x Hunter, if you don't care about it, you're like like when people say like the Chimera Ant arc, like it's so much shit that goes on in that arc. It's like ridiculous.
It's absolutely brilliant, man. Like you have no idea.
I need to go rewatch.
I think it's a masterpiece. And like I said, after rewatching it, like Yuppie became like one of my favorite characters, just because of how much he grew in that short time. Of course, everybody likes P2.
I have like a 40-minute video just dedicated to Yuppie. Like that growth.
Yuppie's great.
He's bro.
Yuppie's great. I can argue Yuppie grew just as much as Meruem without the Komogi bump.
Even more than Poof.
Of course, more than Poof. But the thing is, Poof is like the embodiment of loyalty.
Yes, and that's what my video is about. Poof, he's an amazing loyal person.
Yeah, just it's crazy loyalty where he was risking everything just for the king, even though the king didn't realize it, or the king was just like the king didn't give a fuck at the end. But and of course P2, where it's like that's more in your face, right?
You know that this arc is amazing when you can find so many characters to elaborate on. We haven't even talked about Morel yet. I know how amazing he was been.
Yeah, Morel.
Like Morel was,
and he was 30% the entire time.
Yo, he tore the arc for me, bro. Morel tore the arc from me.
Yeah, I do love Hunter.
Dude, shoot.
Definitely.
That moment with shoot and gong. Oh shit.
Yeah, I think the moment. Go ahead.
One Piece would be. I think One Piece would be like unequivocally the best if they like. If Oda did like more like just fights better.
If he did more Hunter x Hunter shit.
Yes.
What I mean by that is like I think not only fights, but I feel like they're driven by different things, right? Where going back to characterization, that's like the strength of One Piece. Where these characters they're stuck where they are. It's like you can only change Luffy but so much. Honestly, you can't change Luffy that much. Zoro, you can't change them much. They're like stuck in where they are because they're so popular. If you try to alter these characters, then in some way you're altering the story.
The character is very stagnant. You could say that.
Very
stagnant.
That's an excuse if I've ever heard one.
I mean, yeah, I agree. But the thing is,
you're valuing the fans more than you're valuing the story and the characters within.
I agree 100%.
Other series are better. Like this is not like jabbing on One Piece, but this is like other genres. This usually isn't an issue, especially with seinen, things like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like darker.
Yeah.
You value the characters more than you value the fans' reaction to them. That's why whenever bad things happen, at first fans get really angry.
Yeah.
And then they get over it.
But you
because
appreciate
they realize, later, like,
Let me ask you this, Drizzt.
What's that?
How do you go about changing Zoro's nature right now? Like, it was not making him
he's stuck. I mean, it's like
you can easily change him. It's not hard at all. Oda just won't do it.
How would you go about it?
Yeah.
Like if you were of a chance to shape his
the thing is, it's like based on where One Piece is now. Like, for example, like, would you? I know the whole Kuina thing is dead. Like, do you reintroduce her for her to bring about development in Zoro? Because I think Zoro still, in some way, still looks down on women.
Yes, he does.
I mean,
Right?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is about Zoro is like, oh man, this is gonna sound so fucking fanboy, but it's like, what would you change about his character to make him better?
Arrogance.
Well, for starters,
He's insanely arrogant.
we'll give
Why
him
is that
more
a
depth.
bad thing?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what Zoro hates. Listen, what Zoro does now, this is one of the biggest complaints about Zoro, and I also agree with this complaint, is that Zoro doesn't feel like himself. Zoro feels like a knockoff imitation of Mihawk. He comes into the new world and starts saying word for word things that Mihawk told him at the beginning of the series.
You remember when I pointed out to you, Drizzt, at the beginning of a stream when I was saying that Zoro is seemingly more villainous after he starts to interact with Mihawk?
Yes, I
Yeah.
remember that.
It seems like he's on a.
Yes,
like,
it's the same thing. He has gained a lot from
And
Mihawk.
even if like that's not even like the main point. The main point is like you don't have to like try so hard to make characters change. All you have to do is introduce an idea or a challenge to their idea and make them experience it.
Well,
One of the flaws of One Piece is that never happens. Like, for instance, Luffy not once throughout the entire series ever has his ideology challenged. He's always proven right. Not once does it get challenged and he learns something from it.
the thing
should have been that part, but that wasn't. Nothing happened.
Here's the thing with that. It's his ideologies, they're not challenged because every time he's faced with that adversity, it's like
he always wins.
A way out appears, right?
No,
One would think
it's not even that, Brago. It's like, listen, Luffy gets out, but here's the thing: every time Luffy beats an antagonist, what's the result of him beating the antagonist?
they change.
They change, and then the main character introduced in that arc changes. Luffy is not affected and doesn't learn anything either from his experience there or his fight.
Okay, I'm thinking back to the villains he's beaten. It's in every way they've changed. The Katakuri thing is the one that I think frustrated me the most because of the conviction that came across from Katakuri at the beginning of everything and how he just completely changed at the end of it. Where I don't think Luffy did anything that impactful to change his completely change his mindset that way.
Precisely.
But I
don't believe Luffy can change without getting defeated. I think Luffy mindset.
But he's been defeated though.
No, you don't have to defeat him. Listen, this is what I've said. Like, right, this is the thing with most protagonists in a lot of series. It's not just shonen, but it's standardized in shonen, where like every shonen main protagonist is like a messiah, where it's kind of like a mini story of Christ. Almost all protagonists imitate Christ in some way.
All right.
Where they free the world from evil, and then everyone's saved. But in a lot of them, minus One Piece, a lot of the main antagonists have to go through the realizations of what it takes to like save the world. Luffy will be, if nothing happens and like the story remains as it is, Luffy will be the only one that I can remember. There are probably some I'm forgetting. He's the only Messiah that I know that doesn't care about the world, but will save it.
Okay.
Sometimes that line is blurred a lot, where Luffy comes across as, "Oh, I don't care about what happens here," but if it's something that's, I guess, quote unquote,
like imagine this, Brago. What if Luffy finds the One Piece, finds out the true history, and his motivation for like taking on the world government is like, "Oh well, they're bothering my friends."
That would be it would feel a bit shallow. I mean, but I feel like that's what it's gonna be. Like,
you think
right?
so?
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those where it's gonna be bothering the fishermen or something like that.
Yeah, but like you can't do that unless the person actually understands what's happening. Like if Luffy's going to save the world and like do everything that everyone else failed in, those other people cared about those people. Luffy just like, well, I'm just doing things that are convenient for me.
But the thing
He's
is,
not
it's like
sacrificing anything for his responsibility. He's not taking responsibility of those actions. He's just doing something that's convenient.
But I feel like the series is grounded in that, where Luffy just goes about like being free, and Luffy is the embodiment of that. In which the series is written in a way in which being free is viewed as the thing to do, the way to be.
You know what would be an easy way of making Luffy change?
How do you do
by
that?
having like Luffy's definition of a pirate king is being the most free.
Right.
How come he's never thought about what being free means? if you want Luffy to change and be the perfect Messiah, at the end of the series, he has to realize that freedom means something more than what he thought it does, and then it can't only apply to just him.
Well, the thing with that, I think there's a way in which we can still get that.
See, I hope for the same because that's how I thought the series was going to go. But after recent interviews with Oda, I'm not completely convinced myself.
Just here's the thing, Drizzt.
Sure.
Oda need incentive to change. I don't think there's enough incentive in terms of the Japanese audience that you have a reason to change ways characterizing it.
Well,
Luffy and
there's plenty of reasons to change.
You know what it is? It's like One Piece just doesn't go there a lot of times. Where it's like, I love sometimes what I've been seeing, right? And what's happening now. People love Luffy for being carefree, being who he is throughout the entire series. And those same people, they're turning on Luffy because he's not changing. They're like, well, Luffy didn't learn anything from Ace. And it's like, wait, you just said Luffy's going to be him no matter what. When did that become a bad thing? I'm talking about the people that's critiquing this. So it's just like, in this situation, Oda, like, we know he very much has his ear to the streets. And he knows what people are saying. So in a way, Oda is catering to the fans. That's why the Straw Hats, they rarely change, if at all. Whereas, like, that's what it's going to be the entire series. It's going to be status quo. Where they're going to be the characters that we've seen, I guess, from the New World forward. It's not going to change much. Like, for Luffy to realize freedom and exactly what freedom is, I think a subtle hint you could have thrown in was a conversation with Sabo. Where Sabo, it's like a conversation. Luffy, do you still want to become the Pirate King? Yeah, I want to. Wait, Luffy, do you understand what that means now? Yeah, I'm get to be a free pirate. And then Sabo, being a part of the revolutionaries, he understands freedom a lot more now. And the sacrifices that come with that. But for Luffy, like, having a conversation with Luffy to try to enlighten him a bit, and then throwing that out there for a conversation where Luffy eventually has with Dragon, where Dragon explains to him, okay, you want to be a free pirate, right? I want to liberate the world. At some point, our views may clash. Because, like the revolutionary said, we don't want to get rid of the government. We just want to get rid of the celestial dragons. So, essentially,
David's advocate.
Go ahead.
For a while, in defense of Luffy's simplistic characterization,
yeah,
I'll say this: it's not easy to balance or find an equilibrium between a character focusing more on the aspect of fighting and focusing on the intuition. The reason why Luffy seems so dumb in terms of knowledgeable concept is because he's about a genius. That's where his focus goes. And the same thing with Goku and many others.
They're straight shooters. They're straight shooters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not easy to find a balance between making a character smart in this regard and smart in that regard. So I would say in terms of like characterization, most just take the easy way out, which is just to make the character seems more shallow and more
that is easy to do.
Uninformed in terms of like the environment, information in the environment, and seems more invested in fighting and
yeah, because I think that's easier to kind of
it's way easier. It's just way easier.
Because I feel like sometimes if you introduce those complexities, like I feel like Ichigo had some of those, right? Where sometimes Ichigo pondered about like regular life, like why am I doing what I'm doing, and then sometimes it came off as like, yo, what do you want, bro? What's your
nature?
Yeah,
helps sometimes. It really helps.
Yeah,
in terms of fights and all that.
I guess so.
Characters are linear. It's more easy to understand them. The concepts are more clear and the goals are more clear.
Okay.
Luffy, he doesn't need a complex reason to do something.
Okay.
And that brings its pros and its cons. Like right now, in Wano,
this is a good point.
Luffy might just be Kaido just because he can't eat food. Like that would literally be the mockeries of why Luffy take Kaido down.
Okay.
Also, another thing is like, I've been kind of giving One Piece a little bit of slack because it seems to me that the last like 5 years of One Piece has been building up essentially to this arc. And I feel like a lot of like important like things are going to culminate in this arc when it comes to characterization of certain characters and like
But
development of certain characters and things like that.
yeah,
So I kind of want to wait for this arc to come over before I can say, oh, okay, Oda was actually just waiting and now he actually did what we wanted, or okay, no, Oda's just trash and we're never gonna get like the One Piece that we want
I guess
ever.
this is my question, Froob. What do you want from One Piece?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know. I like I said earlier, I think going deeper into the fights would be a lot better if
Yes.
possible.
I agree.
So if you had to
I
pick
think
out of the two
he-
fights,
he needs to stop fucking like okay, like the whole thing of One Piece is like you get like one thing revealed and then you get like three more secrets to find out later.
right?
Like he's not revealing any of the secrets. So it's like at this point in the story you need to start like telling us stuff that like we've been waiting to hear and like stuff we've been waiting to see forever.
I agree with
Um,
that. I agree with that. I mean, I think at this point, I want a great story. You know what I mean? That's what I want more than anything. The fights, I would like great fights as well. I would like for One Piece to go there, but I feel like that was confirmed. It was confirmed as not going there after Oda's like, yeah, I'm just gonna focus on Luffy's fights, blah blah blah, all the other fights, blah blah blah.
like
To me,
if he doesn't
One
explain
Piece-
hockey a lot better like during this arc, like he's just trash. Like I don't know what to say. Like
I mean, that's a bit extreme.
To me, One
Yeah,
Piece has been
obviously
an
it's an
investment,
extreme.
and I just want my dividends. That's it. I've invested so much time in this series, like even if the aspect isn't really fleshed out, like Froob said, like in hockey, I
don't
really
think-
don't mind.
You don't think it's paid some dividends already?
Of course, it has, but in terms of
Right.
the main bread, the bakery,
The One Piece.
I want that.
So okay,
One Piece, of course.
so the One Piece, how important is that as far as your enjoyment? Like, does the One Piece have to be something significant enough for you to say, okay, all right, I get it?
I mean, I don't think it has to be anything insane,
Mhm.
but I think that it definitely can't be like something retarded, like friendship or something like that.
Oda already said it wouldn't be that, right?
Yeah, I know, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope it's just not something
Man,
stupid.
My answer to the question is both yes and no. Like for me, I think no, on the One Piece already gave us that dividends already. Like characters have gained evolving goals just by chasing the One Piece.
Right.
And they are branch off the stories that I've actually enjoyed more than them chasing the One Piece. Like when you look at what Law said at the beginning of the New World, like on the One Piece is going anywhere. But I actually enjoy what Law did. I'm chasing the Flamingo than him actually going after the One Piece.
Let me ask you guys this. For a character that falls into depravity, that goes from being neutral to completely bad, do you guys view that as development?
It would be yes, but for me personally, would I enjoy it? No.
Well,
I would
I
enjoy
mean,
it.
I'm
Okay,
kinda
so
confused what you're talking about.
okay, so Doflamingo.
Yes.
Would you view him and his story as he progressed throughout the story? Would you
I mean,
view
I
it,
wouldn't use the word progress, but yeah, he definitely did develop.
or as the story progressed? Do you view that as character development or characterization?
Characterization.
I would say
I mean, I don't
characterization.
know.
Yeah, I think characterization for sure. Because for Doflamingo, I don't think we knew enough yet for us to like go on a limb and say that okay, he's developed as a character. Where the backstory and what we know up till now was to just flesh him out as a character. But go ahead.
I believe that at the time that Oda gave us to the Flamingo before the main arc, we would have an idea what the trait was like. He was very rebellious in a sense. Like look at Marineford, we're just laughing while other Shibukais were doing their stuff. So I think his character traits has just been expanded upon
Right.
in
Exactly.
terms of like
Okay. So
what made him have them and all that stuff.
how do you view his reaction to I guess to leaving his home place, Mary Joyce, and coming down to the regular How
I
do
have
you
a
guys
great
view
video.
that?
I have a great video.
Oh, so you have a video to expound upon that.
But I would say this though. The only way sort of mobility for him to go is always down. There was not more that Flamingo could actually achieve as a young child. Like he said it himself, I experienced both heaven and hell
Right.
in my young days. Like he have been at the pinnacle already.
Okay.
So the only way Oda could have actually characterized him was just.
Which I think he did very well, by the way.
Yeah, he did well.
Yeah.
But I think a bigger question is what made him the way he is. Is it nurture or nature? Why is he like that?
I think
that's another thing that we don't appreciate enough in One Piece is the characterization of certain characters. Like,
it's great.
is just such a fucking good character.
No, but also I plan on talking about this in depth, but I think Jinbei is another character in which the characterization of him was executed greatly. Right? It was just a masterpiece how Oda did with Jinbei. Okay, but what about development with Law? How do you guys view that? Look where he came from.
Oh, another amazing character.
As to where he is now, based on his interactions with Rocinante. I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but
that's the thing about One Piece. That, like, it's like, I don't know how to like say this, but it's like people say they're bored with like Wano and shit like that, but it's like Oda makes, if you're like an actual fan of One Piece, like Oda makes you care about these characters so much that like
you like,
even just like seeing them to a point, like back in the story, like just seeing Law is like, oh my god, like fucking finally, like, you know, it's like, I don't know, it's just weird, like seeing like the supernovas even just like together is just like so,
another
like,
person, Bellamy, and his development.
Right.
I didn't like how that was executed because it felt a bit forced.
Yes, it was.
Because
I'll say this though.
Yeah.
Brago. The main point for these guys that Luffy meet so far, off screen, is just to get at their combat prowess.
Right.
It's just to them for get stronger. So when the end fight comes, maybe he has some use.
He has help. Yeah.
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 So Bellamy abandoning that responsibility and being a flag, becoming a flag.
Yeah.
Cartman or whatever they call it. It seems like it just doesn't sit right for me in terms of what I expect his end goal should be.
I don't mind it too much because now it seems like Oda's really trying to flesh out his character, right?
Yeah.
Where from what we know about Bellamy, he's a savage. He loves Doflamingo, right? That was it. It was just he was serving Dofi. He loved Dofi. He was a savage. So for Bellamy, and his growth, I kind of commend him in a way because his was a bit different, in which after getting pummeled by Luffy, he didn't change that much.
No, he didn't.
Like the in Jaya, when he got one shot, he was still a fucking asshole.
Yeah, so if he went to Skype and did the exact same thing, that Luffy was told him not to do.
So
he
it's just like
everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think he grew a bit. But he was still essentially the same guy. Where in that way, Luffy didn't impact him. I mean, he did because ultimately he changed. He asked for the Vivid Card and all that stuff. But how Luffy normally goes about it, it didn't really hit him the same way. Which I like.
It didn't hit him until he actually went to Skypiea.
Right.
Because that's when he came back and he met Luffy again. He said, "I'm sorry for laughing at your dreams."
Yeah.
But then just like, what did he do on Skypiea? Like he even did some horrible stuff. I think he robbed them, right?
Do bad things, but nothing's confirmed.
Yeah, that's the thing. Where it's like,
isn't it confirmed that he robbed them?
No.
No. Oh wow.
He said something. Luffy got a little mad, but he never actually said that he actually did something horrible to them. He implied that
he did. He implied that he did.
Hey,
he still maintains it. Where it's like, Luffy didn't. I don't think Luffy changed him. Luffy made him think. We didn't change him. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I think Bellamy was still an asshole when he went to Skypiea.
So let me ask you guys this. Didn't he bring the goat to the Flamingo as some from a bargaining chip to the Flamingo take him back?
What's that?
Didn't he bring the gold that he got from Skypiea as some from a bargaining chip?
He asked him, "Did you hurt them?" And he said,
"Yeah."
And he had that look in his face, and then
like I did do it, but it's not been confirmed. You could assume that he did. That's fine.
But there's no confirmation.
I'm assuming that he did.
I'm assuming that he did as well, because if I remember correctly, in the anime, there's a flashback where he actually hurt them.
No.
I don't know if they took off of arm and a limb and just do it by themselves.
They could be taking liberties there, but I'm assuming that he did do something. But I didn't mind how his character progressed. I mean, it's I think for One Piece, I think we should probably just let's look away from the Straw Hats, because I feel like we focus on the Straw Hats a bit too much. Yeah. But that's kind of like Oda throwing them like in front of us the entire time, where we hardly get a break away from them. Like even at Reverie, like the Straw Hats and the references for them was just like every goddamn panel.
Well, that's
Most
part
of
of
the
the
Straw
problem.
Hats aren't even
Right.
like my favorite characters.
Right. So I'm just thinking of characters throughout, right? Aokiji. How do you guys like his character progression? Because I think Aokiji is a great character.
I think so as well.
I feel like he's one of the most grounded characters in One Piece. Where that's why when we found out he was working with Blackbeard, we were like, what? That seems totally against like his ideals, because it seems like he knew who he was. Right? And that's why he went to battle with Akainu, because it's like, yo, this is who I am, stand firm in my beliefs. So now him working with Blackbeard is kind of like, wait, what happened? Did this battle with Akainu change him?
I want to learn more about Akainu too.
Akainu, I mean, how Oda kind of characterize Akainu? Seems like a straight shooter. He seems that way. But the Bonnie stuff throws me off. Where is there something there? The dragon stuff throws me off. Is that envy? Is that revenge? Where he's just so I guess obsessed with like Luffy.
Well, the thing is, just with something as important as Akainu, I think that Oda has like a lot planned for him in terms of like his character and things like that.
Yeah.
I just want to see more.
How do you guys feel about Garp as a character?
I have no opinion.
I'm always torn on Garp.
Yeah, same.
Because
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
Opportunity.
Yeah, I like him a lot, but I feel like he has some character traits that you can't champion.
I like him and I hate him.
Exactly. Right? Where
But I hate him for the wrong reason.
I hate him, I mean, for selfish reasons, right? But it's like Garp being a D and working and being a Marine. Of course, that in itself is just against the grain. But to become the man that he is, and of course that was validated in the chapters where we said, oh, Garp gained his hero status taking out a Rocks Pirate. It's like, okay, it's not just, you didn't just get the hero Garp off of a fake capture, right? So in that way, he kind of got validated there. But then it comes to family, where Garp is characterized as the ideal, I guess, family man, or quote unquote family man, right? Because look in America, where you have the guy who's successful at work, works a lot, has a big house, nice car, beautiful family, doesn't spend a lot of time with his family.
My problem with Garp is that he prioritizes duty over morality.
That's what I'm saying. Where it's like
that's not my problem with Garp at all. I love that.
Is that your problem?
No, I love that.
You love that?
My problem with
I
Garp
could see why you could like
that.
it.
No, my problem with Garp is the same problem I have with many characters, is that experiencing a traumatic event doesn't change him whatsoever. Coming face to face and being proven wrong and experiencing regret doesn't make him double or think that maybe what I did was wrong and I should fix that in the future. Which is why every time I talk to you, Brago, about the potential relationship between Luffy and Garp and how maybe there's one thing, maybe there's not a thing.
Yeah.
Because listen,
I know you're talking about. I remember.
thing,
Yeah.
Yes. Right. So Garp technically should be a changed man. Maybe he's putting up a front. It's entirely possible. We'll have to find out if we ever get to see him to that
Hard to
extent
say.
again.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what Oda's leading you to believe is that he's exactly the same as he was, and that Ace's death didn't actually permanently affect him.
Which has to be bullshit.
The thing is
way
like
it's applied is that he moved past it, just like Luffy moved past it. It's like, oh, we're back to normal.
there has to be something like crazy about the Monkey D family in general, because one, you have Garp, right, who's like this Marine, but like we don't know necessarily why he's a Marine or anything like that, like what brought him to the place. And then his kid is Dragon. For some reason, instead of him being a Marine, he is trying to like destroy the world government, basically.
Well, I think Garp probably found out about a lot of stuff, and I don't know if that broke him to a point where it's like he's like, I'm only gonna do what I can. Where I don't know if that turned someone like Dragon off, where it's like, how can you stand by this knowing what you know?
But what I'm
that's
interested in
perfectly
is like,
fine.
what about Garp? It made him to the point where he cares about like his duty to the world government, even though he knows it might not necessarily be a good thing, to a point where he will let Ace die in front of him, even though
Precisely the point, Froob. You're exactly right. And thing is,
In defense of Garp, I'll say this
in the
though.
future if that's a thing. Like,
I
defense-
definitely do think that it will
or
be
is that a thing? We have to find out, because if we go through the series and it ends up being that Ace's death is just another thing to Garp, and it has no long-standing impact and doesn't affect his psychology or his morality or his sense of duty whatsoever, then that's the reason that I hate Garp.
Okay,
I don't know. This is my little headcanon. I think that Garp and Dragon were both in the Marines at one point.
I think Garp was training Dragon to be fantastic.
Yeah, and something happened, and
I think it's information,
their ideals split.
Like imagine your father, right?
Right, because you remember really quick. Remember what Rayleigh said at Saboti, where he's like, "You're gonna get the information, and you can make up your own mind about it." Like it could have been something to that line, where like
exactly
just came to different conclusions about the world.
But then imagine finding something out, right? And you're like, "Whoa, there's no way my father knew about this," and you confront your father, and he's like, "Yeah, I knew." Then why the fuck would you want me to be a Marine? Whereas like. And he gives some excuse like some things are just we can't change. We just have to do our duty and do what we can do. And Garp seems like a man of duty above everything.
Right.
For me,
I would say this though.
Go ahead, Lando. Go ahead.
I would say this though. If Garp is indeed put on the front, and he does have some redeemable qualities, if all that happens in the past, Ace dying and all that, I would actually say his character is pretty good. Because a man who's I would say this because a man who isn't willing to sacrifice something can't change anything. And I think if Garp is actually siding with Dragon and those guys, that would be pretty great.
Well, the thing is, based on his dialogue, right? And this goes back to characterization, in which that's why I love that chapter where Garp talked to Stelly, where we got some more insight as far as like how Garp felt about the Celestial Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
He think they're scum.
Yeah, he does.
He does not like the Celestial Dragons. Where it's like, okay, so you agree with Dragon in some capacity, then why aren't you with him? Do you think what he's doing is too extreme? But you know they're scum. So it's like, it's something that's keeping him there. I'm not sure if he's shackled by duty. I'm not sure if it's reverence to whoever brought him into the Marines. But the fact that his ideals somewhat align with Dragon's makes me think that there's something else there that we have yet to find out.
Yes, I think he took a sacrificial role.
If Oda doesn't play out that dynamic, that
would be he would drop the ball. That would be dropping the ball.
Yeah,
because I think there's something there that he can explore. It
wouldn't even make sense.
It wouldn't.
Brago.
Yeah.
What do you see Garp doing to redeem himself? Like, in your opinion, what can Garp possibly do right now in the series? You can say, well, he has made up for not protecting Ace, in a sense.
Honestly, I don't think you can make up for that, right?
What's the next best thing you could possibly do?
You own it.
Exactly. Come to terms with it.
Acknowledge it.
First of all, like, listen, it's really hard to answer this question because all you have to go off of is your own interpretation of what Garp's life story is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're creating your own story.
Froob's headcanon. Like, for me, if I went along with Froob's headcanon about Dragon being raised a certain way to be the strongest Marine and rebelled in some way, then the number one reason that I would want Garp to get more characterization is for him to realize in the story that the way he raised raised Dragon Luffy was completely wrong. He took away their choice in life. You're going to be raised and you're going to be Marine, like it. It didn't work with Dragon, and he did the exact same thing with Luffy, and it rebounded.
With a different monster.
That could go. Oda doesn't go here, but that could go back to mentally something being off there, where he's like, okay, if I just change this approach, maybe that's where I went wrong with Dragon. So it's
which is totally fine. Like, but you had to have him acknowledge that.
Exactly. Where I'm not sure if Oda's gonna go there. Right? But that would be dope if he did. As far as Garp, like, I don't think Garp is a bad character. It's just personal things and things that you've done. It's kind of like, I can't rock with it. I just don't agree with some of the things.
Which is fine though.
I
think I personally like Garp. If a character messes up and does something morally reprehensible, for me that makes them better, depending on what their character does in the future.
Yeah.
Like you're hating them for the right reasons. Not because he's a bad character, like horribly written,
Yeah, he's not a
So
bad
the-
character.
No continuity. You hate him because he did something you didn't agree with, which is good.
That's
so
mostly what a
do
lot
you
of
think
people.
Oda made a conscious effort to make him seem bad in the eyes of us? Or you think
I
it's just
don't know.
accidental?
I think
It's hard
Oda.
to say.
I think. Well, we know Oda how much he appeases the fans, right? And Ace was one of the most popular characters in One Piece. So
Still is?
Still is. So I'm sure Oda knew, with Garp sitting by and Ace dying in a battle where he's a part of, I'm sure he knew Garp would face some backlash. You had to have known.
Yes.
Right? You had to have known. Like,
I know
Oda
it
had
made-
it where Garp sat right next to Ace and basically said, these are the results of your own actions. Straight up. What?
It also brings up another point that I'm really fucking afraid that Oda is like not gonna touch upon a lot of these things that he needs to touch upon, because he's saying like this story's like 80% done or whatever the fuck, and it's like
Oh, that's nonsense.
there's just so many things that you need to touch on. I don't think there's any possible way you could
That's
do
the
it.
good and bad of these data books, where Oda feels like he has an out now, where, okay, I can just throw this information out there and kind of fill in the story that way.
Yeah, but did the data books really tell much about the story? I mean,
That would be
they
horrible,
told
man.
some interesting
No.
shit.
You know, what he's trying to do is he's doing that, but with the SBSs.
That is
That
what,
would be horrible.
And for me, that only gives me more reason to vilify him.
yeah, because
I agree.
Yeah, it does.
That's
It does.
similar to him trying to, like, I remember someone saying, I think it was about 2 or 3 years back, that he might have the Reverie as the cover storage or something. That was, if that actually happened, that would have been that would have been
Oh, a
fucking
cover story.
ridiculous.
That would be bad if he did a cover story for the Reverie. That would
have been horrible.
Yes.
And it seems what I would say what Drizzt and Froob is saying right now. It seems that he might be doing that for the SBS. Like, the information in SBS is supposed to fill the gap what we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with a lot of that stuff, because it's like some
I
of
have
the
a
stuff we
huge
get in
problem.
SBS is like, oh, this character is this many years old. This character has this. I don't know. I don't see that much.
My problem
First of all,
is goes back
The problem
to
that it's not even first-hand information is even worse.
yeah, and my
So
thing
most
goes
of
back
the
to
SBS has been I must say altered, so fanboyish.
but go back to the episodes of, right, where it's like we're getting these remakes of these arcs, and they're not good remakes.
Skype you on its trash, man.
They're not good remakes, right? Where it's like they don't give you what One Piece is. It's skipping through a bunch of shit. They're leaving characters
Yes.
out. It's just like, what are we doing? Why don't we expand in some way through this medium of the anime? Why don't we do that? It's like remaking the same stuff and it not being as good as the original. What's the point of that? I mean, obviously money, but what's the point of
Yes.
it? Where it's like,
I don't know.
Oda,
And the funny part is that Brago, they have been doing it. Because if you watch Luffy's Katakuri fight, there have been so much stuff that have been invented in that fight.
yeah, taking
So
liberties
much stuff.
there. Yeah,
Of
like I said,
Katakuri doing axes with his feet and all that. I'm sure he can do them if he wants, but that never happened in the manga.
I mean, I always go back to the Cracker fight where Luffy did a King Konga and versus Cracker.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know, what do we hold up there as like, okay, this is something we're gonna acknowledge as, okay, this probably happened, and Oda just didn't have the time to do it.
Do it.
You know what I mean?
That's not like, for me. I hate that.
I hate it too.
I think it's it's like an acknowledgement that you messed up.
Yes. It's some kind of a
If you can't
subconscious
address
acknowledgement.
those simple things within the canon story, then story-wise you messed up. These
Yeah.
are simple
Completely
things.
agree,
that could be
bro.
covered.
Yeah.
Easily.
I mean, it's not good when the anime has to take like make these jumps, and you're like, wait, what? That wasn't even close to that. And then they're like, well, you know, the
Exactly.
anime staff works close with the editors and blah blah. It's like,
No, I think that's just some excuses. I'm thinking Oda off the hook.
yeah.
Like certain scenes in the anime, man, is just like way to left field. Like, makes no sense.
I mean, but I was just thinking about this, like the characters overall. Like, I love a lot of One Piece characters. Like several One Piece characters I really like. You guys think about Smoker the other day. How much I like Smoker.
Yes, he's underrated.
Yeah, I don't. As far as growth for him, I don't feel like there's been much growth because he's been the same guy throughout. Where he has his pride as a Marine, he has a sense of justice that I think is ideal in a way, where it comes down to people and having good people around you, where it goes back to what he told Tashigi when Tashigi's like, "Yo, what should I do?" It's like you can make that decision when it comes.
Yes, he's very realistic, I'll say.
Right? Where it's like, if you have good people in these positions, you have to trust them to make the right decision instead of imposing your sense of justice on them, which forces situations like Kobe, where Kobe's like, "What the fuck are we doing?" Right? So Smoker as a character, I think he's great, but we saw the same thing in Punk Hazard, where it's like it was just the same thing. He has a pride, and he's gonna do the right thing all the time. I don't know as far as how you progress that character, but there are always ways to do that.
Well, it's easy, but like Smoker barely gets any screen time.
That's true.
Well, at least speaking of the new world, he got a decent amount of screen time pre-time skip. But that's why a lot of people don't take Smoker as seriously anymore because, well, this is a larger context because it's not just Smoker, but it doesn't really feel like there's really any connection between him and Luffy anymore.
Because he's been out of story for so long. Yeah, I mean, go back to it like
I don't think it's that. I think it's just because he seems weak.
He seems
like him and Luffy are just not that close in strength.
I mean, yeah.
And that's what most people have said about.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like, okay, Luffy's way past him. Like,
yeah, he just way past him.
He can't be that, right? Where the thing is, like, Smoker... Well, here's the thing. Pre-time skip, characterization. As far as telling us who Smoker is as a Marine, as a person. Post-time skip, we just got more of that with him and Law and the whole Virgo thing. It was just more of that. And again, his showing as a combatant compared to Luffy, New World, he just doesn't measure up there. So a lot of the fans like, yeah, Smoker's trash. You can't compare.
I mean, in defense of Smoker not being stronger than Luffy, I'll say this though. Remember, Smoker wasn't prepared for the New World. Like, he begged to go there after Aokichi tell him that he might not be able to angle it.
Right.
So you can only imagine if he had the same time as Luffy to like train instead of build up his status. I mean, G5 or G3 or whatever.
He was in. Yeah, I mean, it's a shonen, right?
Probably be stronger.
So ultimately, we know he's going to be stronger when we see him again. He's going to be stronger. Yeah. I mean, as far as like,
there's such a huge misconception of him with the Virgo fight.
It is. Yes. It is.
At one point, the fights.
I would say like this is not possible on YouTube to go through panel by panel and dissect it, illustrating what happened. That's like, we can talk about it, but showing people what happened. But one day we can have a discussion like around that fight, around the situation, to kind of break it down so people understand.
In that discussion, you have to invite Kai, because I think he's the only one who think Virgo wrecks Smoker and all that.
A lot of people.
I mean, people think that fucking Smoker, or not Smoker, the Virgo is like this insane dude that like fucking like is just nuts. Like fucking, he would like probably beat Zoro or something. It's like, no. It's
misconceptions, but
I think the descriptive words they used to describe him, like I remember one time Caesar like, "There's a monster around there," and it's like, who's that monster?
I guess that's it's all about perspective, right? To Caesar, Virgo is a monster.
And for being fear,
Virgo is strong. I'm not trying to take that away from him. Like, he's the first character we saw full body hockey.
He's watching all the Straw Hats pre-time skip.
Oh yeah,
sure. Yeah, it definitely is.
But it's just like, even the Sanji thing. Like, a lot of people think that like Virgo would have beat Sanji, even though it was kind of implied. I think that fight went on Sanji's win.
I would say it's more
Sanji
favor. I think more in Virgo's favor because he kind of implied that he's Sanji would have lost.
Virgo didn't get one hit on Sanji. He didn't get one hit.
It's kind of implied that Sanji would have probably far more difficult in that fight.
No, as much as I would love to hate on Sanji because I do it on a daily basis. But like, if it were an actual fight, like the problem is that like these weren't actually written as actual fights. That was written as a moment that made Sanji look bad. But if they went to an extreme diff, just fought it out.
Yes,
Sanji's
Sanji
winning.
would likely win, but he did like
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
problem is that he
saying.
wasn't written in that situation.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
problem.
When Zoro's fighting the guy with the rust fruit.
Yeah, I forget his name.
yes.
Didn't he mention at some point about his swords like rusting away? Like
I mean, well, true.
right? Where it's
Yeah,
like
sure, yeah.
Sanji's saying, "Oh, you know, if this fight continues," it's like I don't think we can just
No, but
use
Brago,
that.
there's a different scenarios though.
Yeah.
Of the alternative besides fighting with swords. Yes, no sword style. With Sanji,
Oh, come on.
we don't really have an alternative regarding. No, I mean it's weird, but I mean it pushed up the shop,
Yeah.
and Zoro after one, Usopp not helping. We
Wait.
did swords and fight no sword style.
So okay, where's North sword style in comparison to having all his swords?
It depends on how strong that guy is. It depends on how strong that guy is.
Lando, you need to stop saying.
Like it's like, well, he has North sword style.
Okay.
That's like me saying, well, Sanji has his hands.
Okay, I will say this though.
Yeah.
Zoro hands were rust as well, so I probably couldn't use no sword style. I'm just trying to say like it's the same context like what you're talking about. If you
There's
come
a-
and fight, Oda would implement something to make him win.
That's what I'm saying. Where it's like, go back to the Katakuri fight. Yo, 5 minutes into that fight, we're like, Luffy's done in 5 minutes.
No, Luffy's done in 0.5.
That's what I'm saying. Where it's like just
Luffy was
judging
done from the beginning.
an outcome based on the initial clashes is just like, I feel like that's a bit premature. So I think
yeah,
Sanji would have figured
dumb.
it out, right?
Yes.
Last thing I want to touch on real quick. Matthew Winkler on Twitter said,
Who's that?
Big
Just a
fan.
random dude.
I don't know if you know. Shout out to Matthew. He said, why don't we
what?
look at the past villains Luffy has fought and consider who each of the Straw Hats would fear post or pre-time skip against them? Say, could Zoro beat Lucci? Can Usopp beat Arlong right now? Find it fun to think about. So,
Is it though?
Because
That's a
Zoro
good-
would fucking kill Lucci in
Yeah,
his
because
sleep.
like for me, I hate comparing pre-time skip and post-time skip. I told you this before, Brago.
Yeah.
For me, they're not even the same series. Like
You believe that? Like, they're so different?
ridiculous.
power scaling is
Yes.
completely, it's
It's-
very
you
difficult.
Can't, like you can't use the same power scaling method. It's impossible.
Yeah, so like, it's
Yeah,
like we can
Zoro right
judge
now
it.
is like
Yeah,
one-shotting Lucci.
we can judge characters and say, oh, that character's beating the Straw Hats. But to say Usopp right now versus someone like, damn, Kaku, I don't know. It's like this.
Wait, Brago. Then Oda said that Usopp is stronger. Zoro no pre-time skip or something like that. In the same vein as that.
Did he say that?
I think he said Usopp is strong now compared to Zoro post pre-time skip.
Which
I
doesn't-
don't remember. The problem is there's so many SBS rumors. I forget which ones
Yeah,
are
but the
true
thing
and
is,
which
like that doesn't even make sense. No, he's not. Like, no, he's not.
Well, yeah,
like,
that's the thing. We
it-
haven't
it-
even
it is-
seen Usopp have a fight really.
Do you
I mean,
think
we saw,
Usopp
like-
right now is beating Zoro pre-time skip?
No, I don't believe that.
I mean, I don't know. I
Someone
wanna see-
Ashura? No.
No,
I want to see what he does in Wano if he does something crazy. But I mean, from what we've seen, all we've seen is just him.
Yeah, from what
fucking-
we've seen, like, do you think so, Froob?
No, I don't think so. But
No,
we haven't really seen enough to like really know. That's the thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
and then like Arlong and those guys, it's hard to scale them. Like Moria, like how the Straw Hats faring against Moria with all his shadows now. Is Luffy beating him 1-on-1? I believe so.
What I'm trying to
Well, that's the
figure out
thing,
is that why did Arlong even have that sword to begin with? That legendary sword.
He's a fucking savage.
And
I
he
get-
tosses it away. Like, he didn't even toss the sword away. Luffy break
I
the
guess
sword.
there's something I liked
Quite
about
evil.
Arlong. Okay. I mean, the thing is, and then some of the Straw Hats, they don't have hockey, so kind of like comparing like the Crocodile and like Rob Lucci. I think right now, pre-time skip, he's still beating all of the Straw Hats except for the Monster Trio. Pre-time skip. So
I don't even know.
who you think's beating him?
I'm
I'm
Frankie.
pretty sure Frankie. Probably
Frankie?
could. Yeah.
I don't think so.
You're talking about pre-time skip.
Rob Lucci.
Rob Lucci, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Frankie.
Well, I mean, it was. It depends on how much you think Frankie
Oh
grew.
man.
Because I remember when he punched you with a strong right, he said that this took out the next guy, but Rob Lucci, the Ricky's 8 times his.
It
So it
didn't
depends on how
phase
much
him.
you think he grew. Yeah, but I'm trying to say it depends on how much you think he grew from then.
As crazy as it
Do you think he grew
sounds,
8 times?
if you're comparing them, like, look, it took all three of the monster trio to beat one pacifista, and then Luffy could just casually just smack it down and blow it up. Like that is so many more times casual. Like Frankie probably beats him, man.
Yeah, I probably say that.
But I think that's
Like
Luffy, right? How much stronger
is times 100.
But Frankie seemed more impressive pre-time skip.
No, Brago. No, I disagree with that.
Frankie?
Well, individually,
I feel like people think,
but right now as a collective, in terms of the machines, he looks more impressive.
I think people think Frankie's a lot weaker than he is because he had that stupid fight versus Senior Pink.
But that was a manly fight.
Yeah, I think he's actually kind of strong.
But Frankie without without the robot
machines. Again, Brago, it depends on what
you can't really take it away from him. But I see what you're saying.
I mean, like he has a manly fight with Rob Lucci, where he's going blow for blow with Rob Lucci. I think no.
I don't know.
I think he wins. Honestly, bro.
Really?
I know.
Yeah,
I don't remember this.
I agree with you. I think Frankie was more impressive pre-time skip, but he hasn't done anything post-time skip. But we know for a fact that he's stronger.
He's way stronger.
I don't know about way.
Like that's just the way it is.
The thing is, it's
remember this.
Yeah, he worked on his body, but it's like, did he, as far as strength?
No, the cannons and all that get stronger as well.
Yeah.
He blew the door off in Punk Hazard. What
I'm saying is for Rob Lucci, I mean, like, okay, so let's go back to speed feats. Like, Rob Lucci's still blitzing him. Rob Lucci's still getting his Rokogans off. His flying Shigans, his Rankaku. All of that is still fucking up.
Yeah, but Frankie's still strong, right?
Strong, right?
Like, he's got Frankie boxing.
And Rob Lucci still has Kami. Rob Lucci still has Kamiye.
Brago, that's why I'm asking you, Brago. Like, how much time do you think he grew? Because pre-time skip, he's strong, right?
I don't know.
Phase Rob Lucci because his Doriki was so high.
What I'm saying for Frankie, I don't think combative prowess was his focus. I don't think combative prowess was his focus during the time skip.
But he got stronger though, Brago. He got stronger.
Right, he got stronger. I guess he upgraded, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
He upgraded. But
he
upgraded his software, but in terms of as a combatant, he didn't improve.
I don't know if I'll say that, bro.
He didn't improve.
He's definitely stronger.
He's stronger, but as a combatant, he didn't improve. Where it's like, okay, it's basically like Metroid, right? It's still the same. It's still Samus. You just got a better suit.
Okay, here, let's change it up a little bit. Is Brook beating pre-time skip Lucci?
Hell no.
That's
no, I don't think so.
I don't think so as well.
What? You don't think he's gonna freeze his ass?
Bro, it's like
Brook and Chopper got negative by Parasparrow. I don't think he's hurting Rob.
I just think
they weren't even reporting Katakuri about an eye at them, bro.
I said hell no, but I think Brook is putting up a good fight versus Rob Lucci.
Yes.
But
he's going negative.
He's putting up a good fight. He's putting up a good fight because Brook and his it's not slow waltz. That's Amand. But whatever he was doing, when he walks behind you, that shit is fucking. That's impressive.
Yes,
that's impressive.
Thing is, Big Mom.
It's more to do with fencing. It's more to do with fencing, I believe.
Big Mom high diffed Brook.
Oh god. That's how when we saw that panel where Brook was somehow holding her off.
Bro, there's one scene where Carrot was actually fighting Katakuri. She dodged a kick from Katakuri. I'm like, what?
Yo, remember the Nami dodging Cracker, holding back Cracker's sword?
That was
crazy. Climb attack. She's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, she's like, yeah. I'm like, come on, man. Really?
Oh my god.
Really?
He's basically like a master swordsman.
Right. Like, and she's just using her Clim attack to just ward him off. No injuries. I'm like, come on, dog. But
yeah, and that was the worst part about it. Like, apparently Nami is like fucking like observation hockey to the point where she can block a straight up sword like
from Cracker.
Like a stab from a sword with her tiny climb attack. She's like blocking the tip of the sword. I don't know. It's just like, what the fuck?
It's funny, like the more we delve into it, the more it's so apparent that power scaling is not something Oda does well. Like it
no at all.
And it's like it's even more apparent. I don't think he cares. Right?
I just covered the topic between Haki and Nen and the similarities.
Yeah. Right, because
when
like
looking at them, Nen is just so much better. I mean,
but Togashi
don't like to compare them, but
yeah,
sometimes.
But Togashi is just so calculated in the way he improves
Yes.
characters, and he's
More
clear.
detailed.
It's
Yes,
clear.
and yo,
After the Hunter exam, he made Killua illustrate the distance or the difference between
between
Hisoka,
him, Hisoka and Gong.
Hisoka and Gon. Who else? My guy, the ninja, Hanzo, and all of them. Where it's like, okay, it gives us something to go off of. Then he showed us the difference between them and the Phantom Troop, where it's like Gon barely beat one of the weakest Phantom Troop members when they use their offhand. Where it's like, okay, and Gon is a physical monster. Where it's like he's giving us all these indications where these people are. Where it's like One Piece is not that clear. We have to like where that's where the fun power scaling come from.
It's completely retarded because it's like you can hold almost any opinion you want in One Piece.
You can, and you can use like some off-putting feat. Whereas like with Law, people always go back to the Virgo thing, where it's like his hockey was supposedly stronger, but he still cut him in half, so anybody can get it. Whereas like
my absolute favorite is the Vista and Mihawk. I just can't get enough.
Yes.
Oh my god, I fucking hate those people.
That's not even the worst, bro. The worst is when people think Law can cut Kaido in half.
Yeah.
He sneaks up on Kaido.
Yeah. Law can cut anything, dude.
The thing is like there's like an asterisk next to every single fight in One Piece.
Everyone.
Besides like a few, like
the Rob Lucci fight, you're like, okay, that's the best fight in One Piece. But even that still is like, how did Luffy overcome this fucking?
Luffy, you gotta win,
bro. The thing is, it's just like Oda just wants to like send that message home so bad that Luffy. He starts off as an underdog, but he finds a way, right?
Yes, he's always under our protagonist.
Where Rob Lucci was just so casual, destroying Luffy when they
even
first
more recently, like the whole Katakuri thing. I think Katakuri might
ridiculous.
be like by certain people in the community, he might be easily the most undervalued character in terms of like
based on how everything played out. Just based on how it played out.
Even down to the last
trash. It's like
even down to the last punch, Luffy hand was still swollen.
Bro, but what's even more frustrating?
Punch.
What's frustrating here is that the size difference, right?
Yes.
A swing from Katakuri should generate so much torque. No, seriously.
I'm glad you brought this up, dude. So like, here's one of the things. Like, I don't understand why Oda makes people tall if it doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Like, listen, no sense. Okay, so like, here's the thing, right? Katakuri is a better version of Luffy, except more muscular, bigger, has longer reach on both his arms and legs, and it doesn't matter in the fight.
And his Delta Fruit essentially better.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter.
Where it's like a punch between Katakuri and Luffy straight up.
So decimate.
There's no way. There's no way. But the thing is, Oda wants to drive home the point that Luffy is an underdog, and that he's going to overcome whatever obstacle is in front of him. With Katakuri being as huge, like I didn't realize the scaling at all when
he's
Luffy's
16
fighting Katakuri.
feet.
He is a monster.
Yeah,
a literal monster. He's monstrous. And him versus Luffy, bro, I'm trying to picture that. Like the size difference. Like Luffy's fighting a giant.
Like imagine doing that in real life and trying to punch the dude.
But then imagine defending this guy.
I punch him, that guy as well.
Who has the range that Katakuri does, the techniques that Katakuri does, the power, and bro, he showed that he had the speed as well.
Yeah,
dude, he dodged Black Mamba and simultaneously kicked Luffy in the face.
Where it's like at that size, bro. But
Brago,
again,
don't go down this hole, bro.
I know.
The comments are gonna be like, we're fanboying and all
bro,
that.
Come to my land.
The thing is, for characters that size, they're normally held back by speed. That wasn't an issue for Katakuri. It wasn't.
He was crazy. I mean,
So
he got faster when Luffy went
Snake Man.
And you know what
He
happens
got
in fights? When someone is bigger, faster, and stronger than you, usually the only way you win is strategy. That didn't even happen.
Yes.
No. Right? So it's like I said, the character's bigger. Like, you would think Kuma. Like, he has to use his Delta
What are you
to move
talking about?
around.
He made Katakuri stab himself.
Good strategy.
Fair point.
Yo, the injury is like he became non-existent in the middle of the fight. Like, it didn't even happen. Like, it didn't even happen. Like, These two guys were fighting.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't want to, like, I hate going there. I know people are going to be in the comment section. They're going to be like, yo, why are you guys so harping on it? Why are you so mad about it? It's just, we're not upset.
Luffy won fairly.
We're not upset. We're just, like, pointing out, like, just looking at these characters. Man. And, like I said,
I'm just more upset at the people that, like, use that to power scale and, like, don't actually realize, like, what was going on there more than anything. Like, if you really think that Luffy is stronger than Katakuri after that fight, it's just like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah,
dude, down tough. To the last punch.
It's tough.
Luffy Ultimate Haki was being stolen by Katakuri.
It's just tough because it's just in so many ways. In so many ways, he was impressive, him, and then his size and his speed is so. This dude is a monster, bro. That's crazy.
There's one thing I agree with Dustin on is this. When Dustin say that Luffy didn't really overcome Katakuri the way he was supposed to.
No, we agree. Yeah, I definitely agree with him on that one.
There's no real argument that can be made to show that Luffy objectively surpassed Katakuri. In my opinion, I don't think he's even close. To be quite honest, like if you take out the plot armor on the memorandum, what do they call it, memoranda or something like that, and
the merienda, yeah,
exactly. And he's stabbing himself. Like Katakuri, just due to his powers, should have mopped Luffy up in like 2 minutes.
I mean, yeah, but the thing, we have
that's
to kind
not
of
showing that he's
factor
stronger than Luffy. It's just that his power was just so unique.
I think as that's where Oda typically, he outkicks his coverage, right? In a way in which he introduces his characters with like these amazing abilities, and he shows them off in different ways where we're like, whoa, I'm not sure how Luffy's going to overcome that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then these people, they don't utilize their abilities in the way that they should. There's
not even the problem, because like I agree with what you're saying, but like the worst part about this entire thing is like, okay, so like there was like 3 portions of the Luffy fight. There was like the original one where he gets shit on and then he gets put under, and then Katakuri leaves to go to the Mariana. That's the first part. The second part is after he breaks the Mariana, where Katakuri gets destroyed, and then he like regains composure, and then he destroys Luffy.
Well, the thing is, and then he talks. He's like, "Yo, we're back to square one." Nah.
Yes, right, and the third part is the worst because he fights Luffy for like 10 or 12 hours. I forget the exact time straight. Yeah. And the entire time, Luffy's just getting fucking wailed on. Like, Luffy is just getting absolutely shit on. Like we're, like, getting, like, panels of just Katakuri beating the fuck out of Luffy. Like, Luffy might get a dodge here and there, but in general, he's just getting absolutely fucking his ass beat. And then he's just taking all that damage the entire time for 10 hours. And then he gets stabbed, and he still just manages to, like...
Yeah, and this goes back to Oda as, like, another misstep. Time, right? The time, the length of these fights, where did you make a mistake by saying these admirals fought for 10 days? Where you have to constantly make it so that, Luffy can absolutely do that as well if he wanted to, if he needed to. Where it's like, I think that's what Oda's going. Where, I mean, we saw the thing in the SBS where it's like, he could have beat Doflamingo without the people's help if he needed to.
Yes.
What? Where?
Exactly. It's so different from what we witnessed, because we saw him not being able to handle this guy in a 1v1 fight. So when Oda comes and say, like, if he wanted to, he could. You're like, well, I just watched the fight. We didn't see that at all.
Whereas, like, you shouldn't have to clarify that. It should be apparent based on the fight. But, these are things that I love and hate about One Piece because I like the fact that we can discuss them. But
I'm going to Katakuri for a while, Brago.
Go ahead.
Oda kind of implied that Shanks a future sight as well. So
no, that's fake.
That's fake?
It's fake.
Okay, let's say Shanks actually have some advanced observation haki or some stuff.
Right.
So to beat Shanks, you don't have to overcome Shanks. You just have to use...
I mean,
a counter or something. Like, it's like Oda hasn't built these powers up to a point where they can actually be overcome in a logical sense. It's like, how do you beat these guys?
I think Oda the thing is, Oda didn't go the route of he had like so many different observation hockeys. He's like, I don't know if he wanted to go the route of having like, okay, this guy can do this specific thing. This guy can do this specific thing. It's just like, we have like, it's like super limited, where essentially the characters are doing the same thing, but in slightly different ways, I guess. Because like the Luffy using future sight thing, that's still unclear.
That's very clear, bro. It does not future sight, bro. Come on.
Hey man.
No, I don't care.
I think it's not clear at all.
Hey man. The community split on it. Where it's like,
okay. The reason why I say it's not clear.
How do you overcome
as bad as Oda have been in terms of identifying these powers, he did draw what future sight looked like. When Katakuri started putting kneeling down, he showed what he looked like. I just find it weird that
wrong way, Lando.
Well, in my opinion, if he wanted to show that Luffy have it, then draw a panel similar to that one.
Like, here's the thing about this way. There's a difference between drawing someone who has mastered the ability and someone who's learning the ability.
Right.
That's a good point, but still, you can at least try to attempt to show us something.
But Lando,
don't leave it that vague.
But Lando, how do you overcome Katakuri? Like the thing is, here's the thing. Katakuri
I don't think he won that fight, Brago.
But Katakuri said, remember Katakuri's dialogue?
Yes.
He's approaching my level.
He approached my level. Brago, but that's a means out of fear. You're just assuming that. Because he said some other stuff that is wrong as well.
Did he?
What was wrong?
What was wrong? What was wrong in terms of what?
What did he say was wrong?
Went to the observation hockey?
Yeah. So look, here's how ridiculous this is, Lando. The only person in the series we know that is a master of observation hockey says someone is using it, and the fandom doesn't believe him.
Yes, it does sound ridiculous, but Drizzt, when you apply the fact that in terms of the same fight, Rayleigh Flashback said that it depends on Katakuri's personality. It seems that in the middle of the fight, Oda kind of tossed away the idea of Luffy overcoming him via observation hockey, via future sight. It seems to be emotions and personality.
Another thing is hold on, Drizzt, really quick. Wasn't the actual quote something like, wasn't he questioning whether or not he was using observation hockey?
Yes, I believe that was a context.
It was, and then later on, he's like, yes, I'm sure.
He's like, I'm sure. He said, I'm sure now. He said, I'm sure now. He said something to the effect of, I'm sure now.
I gotta go check by the video.
No, because before he was like, what is he doing? He's like, I think he dodged that.
He tried to dodge that. Yeah, I remember that part.
And then after he's like, I'm sure now he's approaching my level. Something to that effect, where he almost confirmed that Luffy is adapting in some way. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'll take back my first original statement. It's not objectively clear that he can't use the ability, but it's not sure as well. It's not.
I mean, I think it's just.
I can agree to that.
Yeah,
it's just too much around it, bro.
I mean, my issue was in that I don't care if Luffy gets future sight. I just want it to be a progression.
Brago, I do care. I don't
care. Why?
If he can master the ability so quick, then what can he do?
No, that's what I'm saying. So I don't care about him getting it. I care about the time, the process.
Yes, I care about the time as well. Same.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, no, you don't do that in a fight. There's no way.
Exactly.
There's no way you're playing basketball and this dude can dunk. You're like, yo, I wish I could dunk. Then all of a sudden you learn to dunk in the midst
of. Luffy's done this thing before.
This is true.
I agree with that as well, Drizzt. I've done so many stuff that he shouldn't have done.
P9 kicking their legs, and he's like, I can do this better.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I understand that completely, but like, this is like a completely another level.
That was a physical thing, where Luffy's a physical monster. We know, right? Physically, he's a monster. This is
right. So you have someone that's like, okay, you have the strongest person in the Big Mom Pirates, other than Big Mom, and he's been training his entire life.
Exactly.
That's a skill. That's a skill. It's a skill.
CP9.
Yo, what made that so worse is that in Katakuri's
you're
flashback,
talking about like Katakuri. He's like the upper echelon of the entire.
Luffy literally got one shot by Rob Lucci in Water 7. and the first person he fights in Ending's lobby, he's like, I got your ability, bitch.
Bluto's like, do
Man. Yo, what was also weird in a Katakuri fight was the trident not working. Katakuri had been using that trident when he was a child. That was his primary weapon.
Yeah.
And for some odd reason, this man can't hit Luffy. There's a point where Luffy actually take his hand and move his head. Like, this guy can see the future, and who the hell does that make sense?
Here's the thing.
You can rationalize it to make sense. Like, I can give you a reason why that makes sense.
He's small.
But the point I can give you a reason if you want one, but the point matter is that it's just not clear.
For me, it was like Luffy. He said Luffy's like a fly.
It's too ambiguous, man.
For me, that's what he literally said. Luffy's like a fly, right?
I mean, to me, Future Sight, like I understand it completely, but
and then the size difference with Luffy and Katakuri is even more apparent now. Using
Brago.
I mean, it's like Luffy's a nimble guy. You know, it's just like I can understand a weapon not working. Also, for story purposes, if Luffy gets hit like straight up with that trident,
no, I agree with you.
Why implement the story then if you're not going to use it proper usage?
It's hype. Merchandise.
Dude, it's a fainted weapon. It's a metal blade.
Merch finna be lit.
It literally doesn't matter to Oda.
Merch.
Okay. The only thing is convenient that whenever he's not even trying to hit Luffy, when he's trying to, he's not hitting Luffy at all. Like whenever Katakuri put Trident down, he absolutely does hit Luffy every single time.
No, I agree. He should have never introduced that.
And when
I would say this.
Up, even though the surface area is more larger for the Trident, because the Trident is smaller, he can't hit Luffy.
I would say this. I have more control over my hands than a weapon.
And the thing is, it's like
Brago, what weapon are you be using for?
Yeah,
40 years.
But I'm probably using my hands longer.
This is the entire.
Still, even the master you have in weapon should be enough. It should be enough.
But Luffy is
one dude.
Luffy is that gap between the weapon and the mastery of his hands and his devil fruit. Because the
will of P, man.
Let's see. Okay, let's say Katakuri did peerless donuts and spears were coming out everywhere.
Yes.
And it's like, okay. We didn't see that, right?
Okay.
I'm not sure why we didn't, because the spear came out of nowhere. It seems like
an easy explanation, Lando. The same reason the spear doesn't work is the exact same reason that whenever Katakuri uses what is it, like the Zan something Mochi, like his end attack, that's all the spikes on it, that the spikes are literally useless to the attack being effective.
Dice Mochi.
Exactly.
I agree.
Dice Mochi has spikes and they don't matter.
Don't do anything. But the thing is,
Katakuri had spikes on his knees and he kicked Luffy in his face.
Yeah, nothing happened.
And nothing.
Yo, that's not even the worst part.
Sanji uses Diablo Jambe on Luffy's face and it doesn't burn him.
No.
Yo, just if you think that's bad, it's been established that Black Mochi is stronger than Luffy's Armored Haki. But yet still, your turd is.
I think that it's always absolutely horrendously explained because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why
exactly, your turd is matching a peerless donuts.
It's a weird thing.
That was ridiculous.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing throughout the entire fight. I don't know.
It's a weird fight.
The thing is, Oda could have explained the whole fucking spear thing a lot better.
Better, bro.
If he made it, if he wrote it to where like. Katakuri was just like testing Luffy or something like that, but like that wasn't the fight. Like Katakuri was like his main aim from the beginning was trying to kill him. So it was like,
yeah, I mean, but even throughout, it seemed like Katakuri was obsessed with Luffy throughout. Where, I was like, Katakuri seems to be testing him. That was like my thing. Like even when, and especially when he got captured, when Luffy used Elephant Gun. And grabbed him. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh, that definitely.
Even that's pretty weird. Bro.
But then it was
the only way I can explain that is if Katakuri wanted that to happen, because he could have his mirror render in the mirror world. That's the only explanation I could have for that situation. There's no way
explanation you can have.
But the thing is,
that's the only one I could possibly have.
But
that makes sense.
He was on
I could think of a way better one.
He was on the shit.
Like, what's yours?
My explanation is the same reason that Katakuri came to fight Luffy to begin with.
No, but Drizzt, that been a goal that he wouldn't let the ship sail. Yeah. That was his initial goal then.
He didn't care about the ship sailing.
No, but he said multiple times.
He wouldn't have sat on the sunny and done nothing while the crew were fighting.
No, that's the reason.
Literally only cared about Luffy.
Okay, what is goal then? He came and he said, well,
you want me to tell you what his goal is? As I see it?
Yeah.
This is my interpretation of Katakuri's goal. Katakuri's goal, right from the beginning, was to try and fight Luffy to see if he was worthy enough if he could eventually, at some point in time, beat Big Mom. That was the entire point.
That's a good assumption, but at the end of the day, there's scenes that shows that his conviction was to kill Luffy. He wanted to really kill him.
Yeah, because if you don't try and find someone that can actually do it, like you have to apply a real world situation to it. You can be like, okay, I'm gonna hold back, and then like since I didn't try.
Then Drizzt, if you want to see Luffy full capabilities, why stop him from going Gear 4 then? Why not let Luffy go Gear 4 and fight?
Because that you have to make him do it.
Then he suffocate him. It's like it's too confusing for me, bro. It is. It's too confusing.
Like, listen, whenever Katakuri first decided to go after Luffy, he said this person might be a danger to Mama some point in the future.
Yes.
And at the end
Agreed.
of the fight, whenever Luffy said, whenever Katakuri asked him, so you're gonna come back here one day and beat Big Mom, Luffy was like, yeah, and he's like, okay, cool.
And there are multiple scenes within the fight that shows that Katakuri wanted to really and truly kill Luffy. He had a reason to get it over with because he wanted to have
how do you explain that
remember.
then? Like, his motive is clear.
That's the point, though, Drizzt. It's too confusing. It switches too much. Switch when it's convenient and when it's not.
Well, I don't like it, but I can explain that as well.
I don't like it either, man. I want this just to be over with, to be quite honest. But I will not accept the fact that
916.
916. Oh,
yeah, it was a good chapter discussion.
Yeah, I don't think we have to talk about 916 today.
yeah, I don't think so because I'm about to take a
it's no
sleep here.
chapter this week, so we have some time where we can talk about it.
But just to be clear here, guys, 'cause I know many people in the comments gonna be like, "Lando is a fanboy, Katakuri."
You are.
Who here? Well, I am to be sure. but who here actually believes that Luffy objectively have surpassed Katakuri?
I don't.
I think Luffy post-fight beats Katakuri every time afterwards if they fight
I
again.
don't.
Yes, I could see Oda portraying it in that way. But do you think you have seen enough personally, Drizzt, to say that in terms of speed, observation haki, armament haki, Congress haki, Luffy has objectively surpassed Katakuri where
Well, one,
if he fights him,
is a useless ability, so I don't care.
well,
Secondly, no.
that can be omitted, sure. Okay, secondly, no. Okay, I feel the same exact way. Brago, what about
My
you?
conclusion is still the same.
Nah.
Yes, I agree with the conclusion. If Luffy any fight right now, he would win.
I don't think so, but I mean, in terms
Luffy
of
would
story,
win, in my
yes, he
opinion.
would win. But
Yes,
like obviously, if like Katakuri
overability.
showed up in Wano, he'd probably beat him. But
Yeah, I mean, I think Katakuri is still stronger, but the thing is with the story and how it's done, it's just like Luffy always has to find a way.
He has to win, bro. He
No, he
just
will.
has. But it's just so funny how everyone acts like they don't see what we see. Like, how can you not see that Luffy hasn't surpassed this guy truly and fully? Like, even in the very last punch, Luffy's hand was still chopping.
Yeah, that trope needs to stop.
And like the Black Mochi itself is a stupid attack. Like, oh my god.
Lando, this seems to bother you quite a bit.
It
Yeah.
does bother me, bro. There's too much things that you implement that hasn't been properly functioning the way you want it to function. The spear
good.
doesn't work.
It's all good.
The Black Mochi doesn't work. Like, what's the point of these abilities then?
It's all good, Lando. We'll get to the
No,
bottom.
I'm not.
We'll get to the bottom of this one day.
Let me go. Just for Katakuri, your Mochi life matters, bro.
Lando, I thought you
Come
were
on,
tired.
bro.
I thought you were tired, Lando.
Your Mochi life matter, bro. It's justice, man.
Yeah,
We
so
need
we're
justice.
gonna try and talk about 916 at some point. This is refreshing
we
talking
need-
about some of the characters that we enjoy. This is
We need justice.
I don't think that's coming, but we can hope for it.
No, Martin Luther King gonna come back and then give us our justice, bro.
But yeah, I'm gonna do the SBS stream tomorrow, and then we can probably find some time to talk about 916 if you guys want to.
That's up to you, man.
Yeah, that's up to you.
If
But
think
I'm
there's
trying to get it
anything
in.
we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it.
Try to get it.
That was a good. I really enjoyed that chapter, so I would love to talk about it.